the winner! Hotel Mario versus Rick and Morty. Hotel Mario wins. Doomslayer versus Spamton. Bam! Doomslayer wins. Duke Enclave versus SpongeBob. SpongeBob wins. Robotnik versus Frieza. Robotnik wins. Fonzie versus Omni-Man. Omni-Man wins. Shrek versus Luffy. Shrek wins. Louis Armstrong versus Michael Rosen. Louis Armstrong wins. Steve from Minecraft versus Slenderman. Slenderman wins. Sonic versus Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson wins. Amogus versus Woe Bandicoot. Woe Bandicoot wins. Alan Doyle versus Mario Head. Hisoka versus Jack Black. Ugandan Knuckles versus Yoshi. Yoshi wins. And versus CDI Link. Carl Weezer versus Homer Simpson. Wait, Carl laughs, but Homer wins. Gangle versus Alistair. Alistair wins. Jax versus Loki. Loki wins. Big Chungus versus Morshu. Morshu wins. Granddad versus Poe. Granddad wins. Elmo versus Deadpool. Luigi versus Mario. Megamind Onslaught versus Megamind. Olux. Megamind wins. Skin and Pump versus Handsome Squidward. Handsome Squidward wins. Kurt Cobain versus I Am Mean. King Harkinian versus Ouija. King Harkin wins. Arthur Morgan versus Savage Patrick. Arthur Morgan wins. Luigi versus Ken the Butcher. Ken the Butcher wins. Godzilla versus Daft Punk. Godzilla wins. Batman versus Neo. Batman wins. Bilbo Baggins versus John Wick. John Wick wins. Gojo versus Naruto. Gojo wins. Round 2. King BB versus Hotel Mario. King BB wins. Doomslayer versus SpongeBob. Doomslayer wins. Robotnik versus Omni-Man. Robotnik wins. Shrek versus Louis Armstrong. Shrek wins. Slenderman versus Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson wins. Wobagu versus Mario Head. Mario Head wins. Hisoka versus Yoshi. Hisoka wins. CGI Link versus Homer. CGI Link wins. Alistair versus Loki. Loki wins. Marshu versus Granddad. Granddad wins. Deadpool versus Mario. Deadpool wins. Megamind versus Handsome Squidward. Megamind wins. I Am Mean versus the King. I Am Mean wins. Arthur Morgan versus Ken the Butcher. Arthur Morgan wins. Godzilla versus John Wick. John Wick wins. Batman versus Gojo. Gojo wins. Round 3. King Dedede versus Doomslayer. King Dedede wins. Robotnik versus Shrek. Robotnik wins. Michael Jackson versus Mario Head. Michael Jackson wins. Hisoka versus CGI Link. Hisoka wins. Loki versus Granddad. Granddad wins. Deadpool versus Megamind. I Am Mean versus Arthur Morgan. I Am Mean wins. John Wick versus Gojo. Gojo wins. Round 4. King Dedede versus Dr. Robotnik. King Dedede wins. Michael Jackson versus Hisoka. Hisoka wins. Granddad versus Deadpool. Deadpool wins. I Am Mean versus Gojo. I Am Mean wins. The semifinals. King Dedede versus Hisoka. King Dedede wins. Deadpool versus I Am Mean. I Am Mean wins.